Hey everyone, welcome to another video from the Para Bros. Today I wanted to go over my parts haul. These are all the things that I've been accumulating. They're all second hand. I'm just going to go through what they are, why I've bought them, and sort of a rough idea on cost. Now, what I'll do is I'll quickly name everything. So we've got obviously a larger air filter. We've got an SFS oversized turbo intake pipe, a track slag, which is a replacement for the up and over boost pipe, the hard pipe on top of the inlet, front mount intercooler, 3-inch downpipe. Right, so moving around to this side, we've got a phenolic inlet spacer, which is a spacer made out of a material that's non-conductive to heat. We've got a dog bone polybush mount, stud and nut kit. We've got an uprated fuel pump and polybush lower arms. Now, we'll go through individually what they are. So we'll start with the oversized tip and air intake. One moment, let's get a bit of a better picture. Right, so reasons people use oversized tips. There's a couple of reasons. The first reason is because the original one, obviously being rubber, being old, and being in a hot oil environment, it does deteriorate. You might find you start getting splits around the ports, and also they are liable for collapsing. So when they come under hard boost, especially if you're going to map it, tune it, then there's the likelihood is they could crush down. And the second reason is airflow. This gets a lot better airflow in, along with a larger filter, allowing maximum volume of air. The common ones used for these are ram air. If they're quite a popular one, you can get a big foam tip. These are cleanable, so you can undo them, and with a cleaner, give them a good clean. This is a J&R one. Air filter wise, second hand, 20 to 40 pounds, new 40 to 80 pounds ish. And then the tip, second hand, as long as you get a good one and check it all over for no holes or anything, a good one will run you about 50 or 60 quid second hand, maybe a little bit more. New, this one or the Badger 5 tip, etc., they're all similar, is about 100 to 120 pounds. So that's that covered. Moving on to the track slag pipe. So this is a replacement for, I will go and grab one, be with you one second. So right, the track slag pipe is a replacement for this pipe. Now, as you can see, it's got more to it, and that basically removes the need for the elbow, and it just has a straight joiner. It also doesn't have the baffle, so it does allow for a little bit better airflow, a little bit more noise, and there's less likely to have a leak at the other end. Obviously, you've got an old elbow, which is quite a large silicone, whereas on this one, you've only got like a 3-inch joiner. So that's the main benefit of that. That new is about 160 or 180 pounds. I picked it up for just under 100 pounds second hand. I don't know price-wise whether that's any good or not, because obviously the value of those is hard to gauge because they don't come up for sale very often. Right, so let's move on to the back. Okay, so now this is what they call a Welly cooler, front mount intercooler. This with the associated pipework, I'll put a link up for exactly what you need. Some of this I will change because it's not going to make it fit perfectly. But the cooler and all the pipework you can do for under £200 new, or you can buy a kit from, say, AirTech, Wagner, but that is likely to cost you sort of in the region of £400 to £600. So there's quite a big difference. But this is great for cold air delivery. And on most, especially on a 225, you'll have 2 side intercoolers. So there's more pipe work, there's more silicones and stuff, so there's more likelihood that it will leak. But this will give you a better, cooler airflow for more power when you're going stage 1, stage 2, etc. Now, onto the last part this side. This is a 3-inch downpipe with a catless pipe. So this will reduce the amount of drag, you'll get a better airflow, therefore more power, as the exhaust gases will be able to escape quicker. These can be purchased new for about 150, 200 pounds. This one is second hand, but it's been custom made. It's not an off the shelf one, so that might run you a bit more. New for a downpipe and decat pipe, they're about £299 to £400 depending on where you get them from. You can get custom made ones from Bath Motorsport and other like companies, or you can buy physically patterned ones like a Miltech, Scorpion, etc. Okay, so that's that side. Right, let's move on to the other side. Right, we'll start at the back. So on this side we've got a pair of polybushed arms. So you've got polybush there, polybush there. These go on the front, and they are basically just to reduce the amount of movement you'll get. If you've bought a 15-year-old, 16-year-old Audi TT, the likelihood is they might be original, they might have been renewed at some point to rubber, but they have a bit of flex, and if you're going to be using it for fast driving, track days, etc., the likelihood is you'll wear the bushes quicker. These poly bushes are made out of polyurethane, and they're a lot stronger, and they're a lot less give, so you don't get as much movement, you get a better feeling in the steering. And these are common for going. Along with a new ball joint, these cast arms will get fitted. These bushes you can buy separately. I think these are about sort of £30 a pair, £40 a pair. So you're looking at sort of £80 plus removing and refitting. I bought these pair of arms second hand for £50 in a good condition. I mean, the polyurethane will last a lot longer than rubber, so the likelihood is they'll last you a while. Moving on to the fuel pump. This is a syntec uprated fuel pump. Now, if you've done any research in modifying 1.8 turbos, you'll know the likelihood is when it goes for mapping, there's a good possibility that the fuel pump might fail, because the old original pumps are great, but they don't like stage 1, stage 2s. They might be alright with the stage 1, you never know. But if you uprate it stage 2, then you're guaranteed to get the fuel which is necessary to maintain a good running car. Fuel pumps wise, I picked this up for £40. They're between, I don't know, £70 and £100 new. Relatively easy to fit, bit messy, bit smelly. Besides that, okay. Moving on to a stud and nut kit. Now these are, instead of wheel bolts, you've got a stud and you have a wheel nut which goes over the top. Now this makes it a lot easier when you're doing track days. If you've got multiple sets of wheels, you can simply just whiz the nuts off and you've still got the studs on, so the wheel won't drop off, and you can just slide on, slide off. These are slightly longer to allow for a up to 20mm spacer and still get enough threads to hold the wheel on without any issues. Brand new, they're about 60, 70 pounds depending on if you want lockers, maybe down to as low as 50 pounds if you can find them on eBay, Midnight Motorsport, places like that. These I got for 20 pounds off a friend, ideal. Just check all the threads and Loctite when you put them in, but besides that, good to go. Right, let's move on to the last section of the mat here. And right, so we've got a polybush dog bone, which is a gearbox mount, which goes underneath into the subframe. Now this is just to give you a slightly better feeling on the gearbox, to stop movement front to back. And all that is it's just a polybush insert into a standard arm. You can buy the insert for about £28, plus obviously you've got to take the old one out and put the new one in. That was £25 to buy as is, and I can just bolt it straight in. Being polybush, it will last for years, so it's not too worried about getting it second hand. That's absolutely fine. And lastly, we got a phenolic spacer, which is made out of we'll say polyurethane based material. It's a hard plastic of some description, and basically what it does is it bolts in between your inlet manifold and your engine, and what it does is it stops heat transfer between your engine and your inlet manifold. Now I'm going to replace the gaskets, and it comes with longer bolts. And basically you just add that in, and what it does is it stops, if you're doing a lot of driving, you'll know in a 1.8 turbo, if you open the bonnet, the inlet manifold gets red hot, and this just helps to reduce that, along with the intercooler, exhaust, etc. All helps for a better running car. And they're about 70 or 80 pounds. Again, second hand, 20 to 40 pounds, I'm guessing. And all that does is just keep it cooler. Say if you don't have water meth, that's a good starting point. Gets it cooler for better intake temps, more bang, which is always good. So there is my parts haul so far, and a rough idea on prices. Obviously they differ depending on how good the parts are and where you're buying them from, etc. So that's just as a rough guideline as to what I've paid for what I've got. So yeah, there you go. That's all I've accumulated so far. I've got a few more bits to get, but yeah, so far so good. There you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. Another video from the Parrot Bros.